Perfect. Got that record button. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing uno, dos, tres. Testing uno, do, y, tre. Those are like the only 3 languages I actually really know any of. Okay, that's pretty good. Alan, what you got?
What is Jabba the Hutt's full name? Bringing the
Java.
trivia back.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but this is how my brain canon reads it. But it's Java Dezeligic Turi.
Wow, amazing. How did you know that?
Oh man, yeah, I got a steel trap for absolute BS. I cannot tell you what I ate for breakfast this morning. I seriously can't. I have no idea, and I can't
All
tell
right.
you what I had for dinner. But it was fish, salmon. I had salmon for dinner. But
Wow.
um, yeah, no, it's I can remember Jabba's freaking name. Yep. Oh wow, this is a good
You,
good
you
trivia
got you
question.
got his you got his middle name, which is amazing to me.
Well, you said full name, right?
Yeah, his complete name. Yeah, most people won't know Decidijic.
Oh, I
Who
like the way
knew
you
he
said it
was?
better. I like the way you said
Oh,
it better.
it sounds Slavic to me,
It's
but
very space wordy.
yeah.
It's definitely a space word. Um, hey, I like you testing with a trivia question. I know
All
you
right.
brought it up in the Takahashi-san episode, but
Mhm.
man, I like it. It just brought a big ass grin to my face. So, uh,
Right on.
welcome
Well,
everyone to
I'll
Smavcast.
find more and try to stump you. It'll be like
Yeah,
Molly
you should
testing
sneak them in
some
here.
Fode.
You should sneak them into this conversation a little bit too. And next time I'll be more prepared. Um,
Oh wow, amazing.
so
Some of these are really easy though that I've written down,
oh,
at least for you, I
you've
think.
got like a handwritten list already. All right, I'm gonna have to keep up. I'm gonna have to keep up.
Well, most of them are things that I know only like you would know.
All right, well here
You
you
know.
go. Actually, let's do this. Now that you've given me something dope, a great trivia question, by the way, absolutely
Hmm.
freaking phenomenal. Try to keep myself excited, but not say bad words. So let me give you a little trivia. I was talking to Becky today about just like saber form, like technique and stuff like that, and I directed her to our favorite article. So
Hmm.
from the Fight Saber article, here's a trivia question for you.
Hmm.
Give me just a second here. Um, where did it go? Okay, here you go. Here you go. This is not terribly difficult, but it is a good trivia question.
Sure.
What are the saber forms or the main form? I would take either one answer or 2 answers.
Hmm.
That Obi-Wan Kenobi practiced in the Phantom Menace.
Ooh. Uh, should I answer now? Or should I answer later?
No, let's do it now, and then we'll get into our topic.
Okay. Well, I know in Master and Apprentice, uh, Qui-Gon made him do Shicho over and over again.
Right.
And then Qui-Gon did Ataru, so I'm gonna say Shicho and Ataru.
So that's exactly the 2 answers I was looking for, and I would have accepted
Yay!
them in either category, in either order, or either answer by itself, also because uh, obviously, like in this Fight Saber article, they talk a lot about how Ataru was the one
Hmm.
that you're specifically seeing in the Phantom Menace, but also we've talked a little bit in a couple episodes back about how like that like in Earthling terms, if you will, as a viewer, those fights. First of all, they don't really fall into any forms per se, but the those fights, it's really about Darth Maul making Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon look dope. Um,
Hmm.
and so in the article they say that definitely was in the heat of practicing Form 4 like his master, but then also Form 1 played a huge role because of Qui-Gon's advanced age and Obi-Wan having to master those basics. What's the word? Just so much, like really having to go at it. So that I love that you pulled from Master and Apprentice, because we're now talking about two different eras of canon, like 20 years apart, which is pretty cool. Maybe 15 years apart, right? Master and Apprentice came out about 6 years ago.
Something like that.
Anyway, so then I was just talking to somebody the other day, Clayton, Clayton in my Saber class, and he was asking me a lot about like Ceresu, because he's really, invested in the Obi-Wan character, and just like really is not a very aggressive individual. He's very pacifistic, and but I keep telling him like he's a natural Form 2. But anyway, he was asking me about Form 4 and Form 3 and how come Obi-Wan does Form 3. And I believe in this Fight Saber article, here's a little Easter egg for anybody, just because we're a Saber podcast. The reason he switched to Ceresu is because he saw the inherent flaws in the strictly aggressive, strictly offensive nature of Ataru. And he realized that if you're going to use offense against someone who's truly trained at the highest level with a lightsaber, such as Darth Maul, who's, using Form 7, which is like the forbidden form for Jedi, then you're not going to do it. You're not going to fight one offense with kind of a weaker offense, if you will, because Form 7 is definitely like Form 4 on ridiculous steroids.
Right.
And so he decided that if he couldn't overpower or over-aggression like his enemies, then he would have to absolutely become an impenetrable wall of light. And that's what he becomes. You think about it, he only dies in episode 4 because he decided it was time to stop defending himself, like to give Luke time, whatever the case is. Anyway, man, Star Wars talk. We're definitely getting back into more specifically Star Wars talk. That was great, Alan. Thank you for bringing that up, man. I love riding the nerd train with you. Maybe we'll have to do another one later in the episode. You can surprise me. I'll let you take over from there. Actually, in all seriousness, everybody listening, first of all, thank you as always for joining us and for listening to our first little banter here, and for sticking with us through all these episodes. We're probably close to 70 episodes now, which is so crazy, so cool. Most of that in the last year. And we're coming up on that year anniversary of the relaunch of Smavcast here, which is cool. But we've also got a crazy year we're about to preview here for you of events and activities for Saber geeks like you. So before any of that, please go over to sabermartialarts.life. Please go over to patreon.com/sabermartialarts, or just click the links below. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Tell your mother's aunt about us. And after you do all that, go take a saber or martial arts class or both at your local dojo or gym. All right. So we got that done. We talked some nerdy stuff. Alan, I'm going to put you in the driver's seat for most of this. You are going to be our Han. I will surely be your Chewie and punch you into hyperdrive when you ask for it. I can't growl real great, but I'll do my best. And I've got a little bit of a stuffy nose. Sorry to anybody hear me sucking it back. But we got a bunch of snow, and I'm just dealing. I'm dealing. And anyway, we're going to talk about the events. Alan's got a calendar that he made up here, and honestly, Alan's probably going to be at 90% of these events, if not all of them. Well, I know a couple of them not, like the one that's coming up in a week here. I don't think you're heading to that one. But we got a bunch of cool stuff with a bunch of our friends. We'll put it that way. Right. So we'll talk about who, what, where, when, why, as best we can in detail. Anything that needs further detail, like the thing we got coming up at the end of February, that should be out by the time this episode even drops. So I'll probably include that as some pre-roll. Okay. So, Alan, first thing we got right now, we're recording. Today is January 7th. It's about to be January 8th in a few minutes. So, in 10 days, there is a 2-day event. It's actually a fencing event, but I don't want to say we don't care about the fencing, but the thing we really, really are concerned about is, go ahead, sir.
Is Capital Clash for USA Light Fencing. So USA Light Fencing, our friends, you know, Chad and Damon and their group have put together an awesome little rule set that's fun to watch, and still martially sound in just the way they do stuff. They're at a big fencing tournament. I believe it's the Youth Nationals
I
for
think you're
fencing.
correct. I was just on the website a few hours
Yeah,
ago, so I think you're correct with that.
yeah, and so it is an awesome little thing that happens every year in Washington, D.C. That's going to be on January 18th and 19th. USA Light Fencing is going to have seminars, or basically walk up, we'll tell you all about it, sort of thing, and they'll teach you the rules really quick, and then you'll be able to go in and do it. So if you're in the Washington D.C. area, or if you will be in the Washington D.C. area, they are going to be at the, I believe the hotel is called the Gaylord Hotel.
Or if you need a
Uh,
reason to, for any strange reason, be in Washington, D.C., lightsabers is one of the better reasons, trust me.
yes, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, Capital Clash is awesome. Go there, check it out. Bunch of cool fencing. Plus, there will be lightsabers there, and that's our friends from USA Light Fencing, of which Mark and I are actually certified coaches. So if you want to train
I
up for
know.
it for next year, then we can also help you with that as well.
We really, actually, both of us were tossing around whether or not this would be something we could make happen, especially me, because that's like kind of not that far from my actual, like, where I grew up. So I don't want to say I'm really disappointed because I have a family vacation that weekend. So I'm not disappointed, but I'm also disappointed that I don't get to hang out and see this event. I've never actually been to a fencing tournament. So that, to me, just to see a new experience like that is very cool.
Right.
And so that would have been cool, but there's next year. I think they do it every
Yeah.
January. So,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, I believe it's the end of their fencing season for the youths
Yeah.
fencing leagues, and then they start up again a little bit after that. So there you
Now,
go.
quick aside, I just saw on Instagram today that USA Light Fencing is working with the French Federation with their light fencing program to translate the video manuals that what's his name, Zedric, I think, that they came up with for the French league. And of course, I know that Chad has some thoughts on how he likes certain rules done here, and I tend to agree with. He kind of went over that in the workshop, like some of the nuances of ring outs and things like that. That I believe he's going to adjust for the English translation to really match what he thinks is the ideal version of it.
Correct.
So that is cool. And for anybody who's interested, you can find USA Light Fencing on either the Terra Prime website or on Instagram. They have at USA Light Fencing and, of course, at Terra Prime Light Armory. So check that stuff out. You guys will not be disappointed if you're anywhere near DC or want to be on January 18th and 19th. So I'm sure, like, just even as a spectator, but I know that they do a little bit of interaction usually too, like with spectators and bystanders, so to speak. They'll do demos. They'll probably do some dual-on or kado. And they'll be doing lots and lots of sparring, which, as Alan said, is if you haven't seen it on our show before, the light fencing samplers that we've in the Sparkies that we've roasted, please go check those out. I want to say it's like from maybe like October that we released those, November. Anyway, it is more theatrical in nature, but like Alan also said, everything they do is martially sound. So it's not like you're watching a staged fight. It's just that there are particular rules that keep the action going in a particular fashion, and it's a lot of fun. Totally easy to
Yes.
follow.
And it's based on stick fighting or
Correct.
the
Con
kind
to
of combat,
combat.
so
Yeah.
it's literally based on fighting. So,
Right. Right. It's not based on choreography first, which
right.
that's how we like to roll, man. So,
Hmm.
and you and I were a little timid about it at first, or especially me. I think you're always kind of whole ham no matter what. But
Sure.
I was mildly timid about it just because of the way we usually fight being so much
Hmm.
more like or so much less turn based. But
Hmm.
the turn based was not an issue for me at all in
Right.
practice, and it was just a great workout, man. I was pouring sweat every day, smelled like
Hmm.
my gym socks butthole. So yeah, it was great, man. So let's move on. This is the big
All
event
right.
of the moment. And this is an event that we've kind of been planning behind the scenes for about a month now, but it's still actually kind of short notice. And we're trying to make this really a special event. So let's talk a little bit about the Kumite Classic.
The Kumite Classic in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to be at the Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, February 27th through March 2nd. So the last couple days of February through the first couple days of March, we're going to be part of the Kumite Classic, which I believe is only the Friday and Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think there's some special stuff. We kind of talked about this on the second. But like
Mhm.
you'll find the 3 day dates and you'll find the 2 day dates depending on like what you're looking at. I think on that third day there's going to be like some world qualifiers and stuff.
Mhm. But
So
it's a big festival with a bunch of different
huge
sports.
festival. So
Yeah,
I was
with a
talking to
bunch of
my
different
wife
sports.
about this. So
Hmm.
for anybody who's not aware, I live in Ohio now, about an hour from Columbus, and um, my wife grew up here. So moving here, there's a whole lot of corn. There's a whole lot of football. There's a lot of good wrestlers. There's not a whole lot of lightsabers, and I didn't really know like anything about the sports scene or whatever aside from like OSU football, right? And I went to the UFC in Columbus a few years ago, and there's like all these
Hmm.
like huge like swole dudes and swole chicks walking around just like sorry if that word offends anybody, but I mean it super endearingly. But anyway, just super swole people just walking all around and coming in and out of the UFC event, and like I'm like talking to my friends who are from around here, and they're like, I'm like, what is going on? They're like, oh, the Arnold. I'm like, the Arnold. What the hell does that mean? The Arnold. What is it like? It's like a huge festival. So Arnold Schwarzenegger started this festival many years ago. Um, just as kind of a way to like give back to the fitness community in the way that he felt was appropriate, which is basically like a bodybuilding convention. I know they do like IFBB, the bodybuilding organization. They do CrossFit competitions and Olympic lifting, and on top of that, they have like all kinds of different sports represented.
Yeah. Let
Um,
me read off some of them.
yeah, please.
There's foosball. There's arm wrestling,
Oh yeah,
powerlifting,
I've heard the arm wrestling is a
strongest
trip. By the way.
yeah, strongest firefighter, powerlifting, wrestling. Uh, I don't know what arm lifting is, but I assume it's lifting arms. Uh, like you said,
Oh my god.
fitness and physique. There's a
Oh,
wellness international, gymnastics,
Yep.
And of course, the martial arts festival, which is the Kumite Classic,
So yeah,
which we'll have.
the Kumite Classic, by the way, let's just like really quickly. I would be doing them who have been so nice to us. I would be doing them a
Hmm.
disservice if I didn't just give everyone just like the minorest history at least.
Hmm.
But they've been doing this festival or this competition for like over 20 years,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
is sponsored by Bill Viola Jr., who is the son of Bill Viola Sr., obviously. But Bill Viola Sr. is one of like basically two people. I forget off the top of my head. I forget who the other guy's name is. But basically one of two people who's kind of considered like the godfather of modern mixed martial arts. In other words, he was I believe, Shotokan karate guy.
Hmm.
And I could be mistaken there, but definitely traditional karate guy who decided that there was no harm in everybody cross training and playing together. And there's also at this Kumite Classic, they've been at the Arnold now for like 20 years, I think. Um, they used to do it in Pittsburgh, and now they do like smaller events in other places that are considered like little kumites, if you will.
Hmm.
But this is the big one at the Arnold because all these other sports and interests are represented, and the exposure is crazy.
Hmm.
Now, I've never actually been to the Arnold, but being in Columbus at the time, it's
Hmm.
it's popping. It's taking place basically all over the city, um, all over downtown. These huge buildings and the convention center, they're just rife with activity. Um,
Yep.
so we're gonna be the exclusive Saber League of the Kumite Classic going forward,
Ooh.
which is pretty sick. And Alan, you kind of just like posed the question to me, like, "Hey, what's up with this thing? We should find out
Hmm.
if they
It's
care
about
about
an hour away
lightsabers."
from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I, and we should give credit to Ryan from Saber Light too, because he's the one that told you, like, oh, Fode's kind of out there. This is out there. What, let's see what the hell
Hmm.
this is all about. Um,
Yep.
and I had kind of never really had a reason to just do it myself because I didn't even start my Saber program till recently.
Hmm.
So I didn't really have a student base or anything. And I've been out of the Saber community at large for a little bit as far as like actually participating in events. Um,
Hmm.
so this was an opportunity for me to feel like I was actually doing something other than the podcast, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I just sent them a message, and they're like so into it, man. They're so into it.
Yep.
They're actually good friends. We should give a shout out to Patrick Tadavosian, Sensei Rocky, who we're dealing with this tournament as well. He's basically the director of the tournament under Bill Viola.
Hmm.
And he's got a dojo out in the LA area, Zaishin Shotokan. But anyway, he's friends with our friend Patrick Tadavosian, who did oh gosh, Alan, what was the name of his saber school? Do you remember?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I
Okay.
remember he went to the Penguin tournament once.
Yes, yes, and he's a longtime martial artist and black belt. He owns his own school as
Hmm.
well, and so it's been really great. We're finding out that everybody knows everybody, and everybody's really excited about working with each other. So, long story short, we're going to have registration for that opening, hopefully by the time you hear this podcast at the end of this week.
Light Force Academy.
Light Force Academy. Yes, 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 yes.
I was like, it was light something.
Yes, yes. And I think Sensei Rocky used to do a class called Yodakan, like Shotokan, but with Yoda.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
anyway, they're excited. We're excited. We're gonna have 4 rings set up there. We're going to have at least 4 rings. We're looking to have 4 big rings. We're gonna have divisions in invitational, LED, continuous, SMA combat. In other words, fully armored LED sabers with MMA continuous fighting rules, which is like a slight tweak on the Saberlight stuff that they just did at the Praxium, which has been working so well for them. And then we've also got divisions in open sparring for foam weapons, which we've got mixed sabers as well as standard sabers for all of those sparring divisions. And then what I'm really excited about, because I'm such a traditionalist nerd, is the kata competition and the
Hmm.
basics competition that we're hoping to do. This is kind of an experimental thing for lightsabers. They have like cutting in sword competitions all the time, but this is kind of new for a lightsaber competition. So we're going to try some blade work rules, hopefully, and we're going to do kata competition and fight choreography competition. This is going to be so cool. You can definitely win medals, which is great, but we've got some people. Smokey's Armory comes to mind, Shabby Sabers, who have said that they're hoping to get us some prizes for some of our winners. We're also doing hopefully some good pricing for you guys so that you can participate in more than one division for like one rate, which would be really great. But also, the martial arts competition is going to be going all around you. You're going to see every martial art basically represented there over the course of 2 days. Okay, Alan, I just like vomited all over our listeners. Can you clean up anything I missed or anything that needs a little sandpaper?
Let's put it this way. The Arnold Schwarzenegger Festival is the largest multidiscipline sporting event in the world. There's
That's
going to be
that's
over
correct.
100,000 attendees every year. Um, of course, it does pay homage to the man, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But basically, this has been going on since 1989.
That's correct.
And then the Kumite Classic basically wanted to have a new generation of martial arts competition, and they highlighted USA Kickboxing, I think,
Yes.
as the
And WACO, the World Association of Kickboxing Organizations.
yeah, there you go. And so there's going to be all sorts of martial arts there, kickboxing, karate, probably taekwondo.
Yeah, they've even
There's
got
probably going
Alan.
to
You're
be
gonna love this.
wushu.
They've got a push hands competition.
Awesome, amazing. Yeah, but so there's a ton of stuff. There's also some weapon stuff there, and
Yes,
then
but I
there's
believe it's not sparring.
no. It's I think they're katas.
Yes,
Most of
forms
them are
and
katas.
team stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
but they are going to have for the first time ever lightsabers there, and that's
Yep.
going to be us.
Yep.
And we hopefully every year we'll be there with them, and
Possibly in bigger and better fashion every time.
yeah, and our competitions will just get so much more interesting because we'll have more people there, including you. Yes, you, the person that's listening right now.
Yep.
The next thing I think we have here is um, after saying all that, it's the last weekend of February,
Yep.
right? And going into March. We're going to be there Friday and Saturday. And then, depending on whether or not people want to show up, for Sunday, depending on how, because we're going to be there from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., I think, each day.
Yeah.
So,
Possibly later.
um, yeah. So, if we're not completely wiped out, some of us might even be there Sunday. But,
Yep. And we've
there,
talked about what we can do Sunday otherwise too. So, stay
yeah.
tuned because we want this to be special.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like there's registration going on now. The registration for these events will include your ticket to the whole festival, so you can be there all
Oh
four
yeah,
days if you
thank you
want.
for saying that. Yes.
Yeah, and then but
Yes.
we will have that. If you show up to one of our events, if you're registered for one of our events, then you can be there all 4 days. You can see whatever you want there.
Yep.
If you just want to watch, get a ticket at the door. I think it's cheaper. If you
Yeah, I was
walk up
gonna
and say,
say
"Hey, I'm here for that."
I can't go into too much detail, but I will just say if you want to come watch, if you're listening to this or whatever, and you want to come to that festival at all, let alone the lightsaber portion,
Mhm.
you go to the Martial Arts Festival the day of and buy your spectator tickets at the door there. You will get, we'll just say, better pricing.
Yes.
And
Um,
like Alan said, the spectator tickets for the martial arts festival includes the Arnold admission, as well
mhm,
as your regist. I'm going to say that again. Your registration for the tournament includes the Arnold admission. That is
yeah,
not cheap. So you're
yeah,
actually kind of paying less to get into the festival to
hmm
just participate in the lightsaber tournament, which you wanted to do anyway, didn't you?
yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're listening to us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that is that week, and then the following week, here in the Southwest, we have the Phoenix Wushu Nationals,
An
March 8th and
almost
9th.
equally huge tournament, at least in the wushu world.
So the Arnold is the largest multidiscipline sporting event. So a bunch of different disciplines, a bunch of different fitness and sporting things. As far as wushu events goes, there's the Phoenix Wushu Nationals, and then there's the Beijing Wushu Nationals. So,
Right.
so, um, so yeah, it's another one of the biggest events there is for combat sports. Now, wushu is going to be a little bit different than what you've probably seen on Cobra Kai. Um,
Oh, that's fun.
and
But you will see some Cobra
yeah,
Kai stuff at the Kumite.
yes, well, you will see some of that too. It's just there's several different divisions of it. It's not just,
Right, 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 right.
not just karate or I think they call it tatami now, the karate fighting. Um, the when they do the things. I think I read that on the Kumite
I
Classic
think
website. They
tatami
called it
means it'll
tatami.
be on a mat, not in a ring.
Oh, okay, there you go. That would be the difference.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's
Which is,
a
by the way, I believe at the moment what we're planning for the SMA portion. We were hoping to do a cage that is probably more in next year's future. But anyway,
right.
Alan, talking about the wushu,
Yeah, so
they do mat style
there's
too, right?
yeah, there's going to be that, but there is going to be a Sanda ring as well. So those of you that are into Sanda, there's it's the one of the biggest Sanda tournaments.
Sonda is
So that
so
means
cool,
that
y'all. So
which
cool.
means that you'll be fighting on a raised platform with no ropes. There's just a big cushion at the end of it, so you can ring out somebody.
And it's full
Um,
contact.
and it is full contact, yes. And so that's one of the cooler events. There is push hands and a chisao for those of you wushu fans.
Sticky
A
hands, right? Sticky.
sticky hands,
Yep.
yeah, competition as well that I saw. There's also loads and loads of kata based on traditional, based on age, based on taolu and freestyle stuff.
So
So
cool.
you'll see so much cool stuff. And it's going to be at the Rawhide Convention Center out here in Chandler, Arizona, which is one of the many suburbs of Phoenix. Um, but yeah, we'll be there too. So I will be there with a contingent of people ready to fight in both the Saber Martial Arts rule set and the USA Light Fencing rule set, and we'll also have a kind of freestyle kata competition. So it's basically just kata to music. So
Right, right,
that's
right.
the thing. Now there is a couple of other events that I want to honorably mention um, after that, which is the Master Venable's European tour, which is when I go to Europe for a month and basically walk the earth like Kane from Kung Fu.
Yes.
And with my lightsaber in my bag, I'm gonna go see our friend Faisal for Silver Sabers UK. I'm gonna go see Vince for the lightsaber path in Bordeaux, France.
Yeah.
And any of you European listeners, invite me to your school. I would love to show up and at least talk about fighting with you, if not fighting with you. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, let me know. And I have a whole month, and so far I only have one big event that I have to be at within that month in Europe. So as long as it's not that week, I can show up any of the other 3 weeks I'm there.
That's
And
great.
then we have Saber Mania.
This is a big
Um,
event too.
yeah,
These are all big events coming up, but this last year this was a pretty big deal for you, Alan,
yep,
because this was like your baby last year. So
yep.
once again, this will be your baby again this year. But
Hmm.
I am crossing my fingers that I will be able
Hmm.
to get there for this. It is
Awesome.
right at the beginning of wedding season, which
Hmm.
always sucks. But for anybody who's wondering why that matters, I'm not a wedding crasher. I run a wedding venue. So anyway, um,
Hmm.
it's during wedding season, but I think if it all goes well, I'll still be able to make it. But talk about this. This is LAX Hilton,
Hmm.
so we're really talking like the hotbed of saber activity. At least like 6 years ago, this was where anybody with a lightsaber was hanging out.
Right. So there's a bunch of lightsaber groups within that, and there's also a lot of HEMA groups in Southern
Oh
California.
yeah,
Um, so there's a lot of that. Plus, it's LA, so there's also a lot of kendo groups and a lot of people that are just basically into martial arts. So Southern California has been is pretty good about that. So the biggest thing about Saber Mania. Oh, sorry. I was talking about honorable mentions. Tiger Claw will be having a tournament sometime between my European tour and Sabermania. So I don't have the dates for that
oh
yet.
yeah, and
But
TPLA is usually represented there.
yeah, so there'll be lightsabers there, and if there are, I will probably show up there.
Love that. Tiger
But
Claw is a great
back,
company. They've been around for ages and ages.
yep. And a lot of their stuff is available at the Saber Martial Arts website. So give us a holler about that. So
Oh,
back to
that's true. Yeah,
Sabermania.
we can get that totally.
Sabermania is, for lack of a better term, going. I'm billing it as the mecca, basically, or the biggest conglomeration of saber organizations that we can find on Earth, all in one place, all in the same room. That's what I'm trying to get people to do.
That's what we
So
did
if
last
you,
year. And how many did
that
we
is
end
what we
up
did last.
with? Well, we had at
12, I
least
think.
12 people on the call.
Yep.
Wow.
Each one was a representative of different saber, at least saber rule sets, if not complete saber organizations.
Right, right.
Um, so the idea of Saber Mania is a weekend of seminars, so you can learn people's rule sets. You can have mini tournaments there so that you can actually play the rule sets, not just learn them. And then capped off by the Galactic Classic Tournament, which is basically 5 rounds. Each round is going to be a different rule set that is picked by the people, the organizations that show up. So if we all come together and do it, there's going to be a ton of fun stuff. And eventually, the plan. Again, manifesting reality on the podcast. The plan is to make that again the biggest saber gathering that we can on Earth, and have people fly into LAX, cross the street, play lightsabers with us, and then cross the street and then go home on a plane. That's basically the coolest part about it. It's right there,
It sounds
and
dope.
yeah, you can literally drop in, fight, and get back on a plane
I
and
just wanted
take
to
off.
really quickly. I was looking at the dates there because I was gonna peep at my calendar real quick. But
Mhm.
I
Memorial
was
Day weekend,
yes.
May 24th through 26th.
Guess what? Guess what is right in the middle of all that? The
What's that?
actual Star Wars Day, May 25th.
Oh,
What I
there you
mean by
go.
actual Star Wars Day is that's the day that A New Hope was released.
Yep,
So that is awesome. That's got to be a good omen. That's got to be good vibes.
absolutely. Yeah,
And I don't see a wedding scheduled for that weekend at the moment.
block it now.
I may just do that. And
There you go.
I may just do that. So I may just do that. There you go. Okay. So
There you
Saber
go.
Mania for me last year we did Saber Mayhem.
Hmm.
I don't know how many May words we can squeeze out of this, but I'm interested in finding out. But I just had such a blast, like figuring out who everybody was, if that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
meeting people from literally all over the globe. We
Hmm.
had we had at least 3 countries represented there: the U.S.,
Correct.
Puerto Rico, and the U.K.
Hmm.
We might have had more. I mean, kind of France by extension, right?
Right.
And now we probably will have France represented through Vince.
Hmm.
So very cool. But also, like, so if the Kumite Classic at the Arnold
Hmm.
is like the real, or I should say, like a legitimization of the martial arts of what we're doing,
Hmm.
this Saber Mania is that also, but more of a celebration of the saber and what we're doing with it.
Correct.
With, of course, the
And,
martial
and
arts vibe.
and I'm saying saber organizations. I'm not saying, just certain organizations. I'm talking if you are part of the Saber Guild, you're invited. If you all you do is
Correct.
is
Correct.
spin your lightsaber in the backyard, you're invited.
Right. Right.
This
Do
this
you
is
follow
a
TikTok
place.
saber spinners? You're who we're
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah, just show up. We have a huge community that you might not even know about,
Right.
or might be right around the corner of you. You
I
don't
was
know.
just gonna
Uh,
say that. Dude,
yeah.
I'm
So,
thinking the same thing about the Kumite in the sense that, if you're just like the person who, like, you live in the Columbus area or even within
mhm,
2 hours of it, and you're just like, I just like to look at girls who spin sabers on TikTok or whatever, man.
yeah.
You understand the type of person
Hmm.
we're looking for to at least come
Yeah.
spectate these events.
Hmm.
And then, like, Alan, talk a little bit about this could be around the corner thing, because especially in LA, oh my gosh, you
Hmm.
couldn't be more correct.
Yeah. So a lot of people also, we're not the only thing there at Sabermania. There's also a whole convention that's going on
That's right.
downstairs
That's right.
for even more nerdiness,
That's right.
right? So if you look up GameX, it's spelled GAMEX. It's
It's like a gas
another
station for
convention.
games.
Yeah, yeah. It's another 4 days of gaming. It's run by a company called Strategicon, and they've been doing this for nearly 40 years. So,
Strategicon's a huge name. They don't just do
mhm.
GameX, right? They do a bunch of
Yeah, they
different
they
cons.
they do three big conventions a year at the same exact place at the same exact
Okay,
hotel.
okay, okay, okay.
Um, and maybe I'm exaggerating 40 years, at least 20. But they have been basically so great to us in the past. They gave us our own courtyard. This year, they're going to give us our own room so we can do all of our seminars indoors in case it rains or whatever it is in May. So we're going to have our own room to do all our seminars. If we wanted to do tournaments in that room, we can do it in that room. We can go out to the courtyard and do it. They're really uh, giving us open arms with that, and that's partly because everybody loves K Sensei, and
Yeah.
we'll do stuff for him. And we realized the world was pretty small because I also have another friend that runs stuff there. So there's a wonderful, perfect storm of stuff for us to go. Hey, if I pitch this idea, could it happen? And we just
Right.
happen to know the right people that would be like, yeah, go ahead, I trust you. So we have a huge opportunity to do that, and a huge opportunity for people to come in, not only just walk into a gaming convention where all sorts of nerdy stuff is happening already, but also show up with the ability to learn lightsaber stuff and to go home and play with it, and uh, to actually join their stuff and possibly even make your own organization based on the stuff you see there. So that's kind of the cool thing about GameX and Sabermania.
We have a Patreon tier for that, Alan.
We do, and that is why I'm getting
Shameless.
more business
Shameless.
cards. Anywho, shameless plug.
Shameless. Shameless.
Um,
Um,
so
I'm
after
very
that,
very
though,
excited. Even
yeah,
if I can't make it, which
yeah.
I'm biting down on the mouth guard right now. I I am so excited for the podcast that's going to ensue from the experience you're going to have there. I am
Absolutely.
not a huge con goer. I just don't. Not because I don't wanna. I totally wanna.
Hmm.
Hayden Christensen was just in Columbus. Anyway,
Hmm.
um, I think I think this is like the gaming community is particularly handy when it comes to what we do, and I say
Hmm.
handy because there's like a real strategy, a real game to be played when you're sparring. Any type of sparring, it is often described as like 4D chess, but
Right.
I, I I don't like to think of it as chess because I'm terrible at chess. I'm decent at fighting. but I like to think of it as like a video game or a board game
Sure.
that takes some real planning to win,
Hmm.
and some real technique and strategy. So, you know, that community is also, Alan, let's just say overall, exercise would not kill the nerd community, right? Can we
Oh,
agree
sure.
on that? Exercise would not kill us as geeks.
Well, yeah, and actually, that's the cool thing about this is in I mean, it's in the name, Saber Martial Arts, right? If you are into Star Wars, this is a good way to just, meld two of your nerddoms together,
Yes.
right? You
Yep.
can you can
Yep.
actually for me it was I'm a martial arts nerd and I'm also a Star Wars nerd. Oh my gosh, I can do this. For some people it's just like I love Star Wars and I do need to get some exercise in. What a great way to just do something that you love
Yeah.
and also do something that you need and
Yep.
just actually,
Yep.
get fit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not my saber fit pitch, but get off your couch, spin a saber.
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's the
I ate like a big dinner tonight, pasta,
uh-huh.
salmon, and you know, I'm not against like filling my belly completely full of food,
Yeah.
but um, I did a little workout. I taught a little bit tonight. Did a couple
Hmm.
hours of martial arts, and I just like I wasn't crazy excessive. I did a little
Hmm.
lifting beforehand, tiny bit. Just just feels good, man. You're just gonna
Hmm.
feel better. You feel like, oh, I put this seatbelt on and my belly's not hanging over the seatbelt so much as it was maybe a couple weeks ago. You know,
Sure.
that's usually my gauge. Funny enough, is just how my belly hangs over the seatbelt or not. Um, if it starts hanging over a little too much, I need to hit the elliptical a little more, lift a little more weights, and spar a couple more rounds. You know, it's just like it's not hard though. And I'll talk about Clayton again real quick, like just to talk about merging your nerddoms, if you will. Like he was telling me, like he called his mom, like, "Hey, ma, you got my saber?" Right? Like
Hmm.
he bought an ultra
Right.
saber a while ago, having no real intention of actually thinking somebody would teach him real martial arts with it, but
Sure.
being totally fascinated by it. And
Yeah.
um, he's he's like calling mom, but you know, just like Will Ferrell, you know, ma, you got my lightsaber. Um,
Right.
and she was like, "Why? Like, are you just gonna like bring it to your apartment and let it take up space in the corner? Like, what do
Hmm.
you need me to find that for?" He's like, "No,
Right.
like, there's an actual guy at the gym. He
Right.
actually knows what he's doing, and he actually
Yeah.
teaches a class. And I need
Right.
my lightsabers now because they're my
Yeah.
tools."
Right. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, right? Is we've seen the effect that this has on people, throughout the decade that we've actually been pulling this off. So it's really cool that people are catching up now, and it's really cool that like now we have martial artists coming out of their nerd hole
Yeah.
because they all had this before, but may have been, not listening to everything that they were saying in class about, fear being the mind killer, and
Yeah.
courage is the not the absence of fear, but doing the thing despite of it. It's a bunch of stuff that you would say at the class you could apply to your nerddums. So yeah, that that's a interesting thing because it has evolved over the past decade since we started
Yeah.
really doing this. But now we have so many people that want to do it because it's okay to want to do it, and we have a whole nother generation that
Correct.
want to do it, which leads me to the next event, which is Phoenix Fan Fusion, where Phoenix Saber Academy will be doing free classes for the younglings, and then we're going to kill them all. No,
Yeah.
they're going to
Yeah.
they're going to show up. We have a bunch of sabers for your younglings to teach. We're going to teach them how to do
Safe sabers,
very
we'll say.
yeah. Well, they are the sci-fi sabers from Action Flex, so they will be swinging around and using padded lightsabers, and then we will actually have an adult class as well, which is basically for everybody that doesn't want to do it with their kids, or the teenagers that don't want to do it next to their little brother. We can we can accommodate you there as well, and maybe at the end we'll have a little uh, mini, first touch tournament or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Phoenix Fan Fusion is the following week. So after Sabermania, I get a couple days to myself, and then I'm back on the train to to downtown Phoenix, and I'm basically going to be helping teach a bunch of kids and a bunch of kids at heart, basically, so that we can actually do more stuff there. Side
Yep.
note, there's also my friends at Syndicate Saber who are going to be doing their own little saber tournament with their own rules,
Oh,
and
shouts, man.
they
Shouts.
have they have they have basically a kids show that they do. I mean, it's a really cool like story driven kind of show that they're putting off, and they have choreographed fights on stage and stuff like that. So
Sick.
check them out if you can. We're gonna be Phoenix Saber Academy is gonna be there uh at least Friday and Saturday doing classes. We're gonna see, maybe Sunday as well, but we're probably gonna be there all day long, and then we'll have Syndicate Saber. I think their big event is on Saturday night.
Okay, so really quickly,
Hmm.
Phoenix Fan Fusion. This is not necessarily competition, but there will be education.
Hmm.
I want to just really quickly mention that even our competitions, you can expect some level of education because that is the purpose of our organization. Um,
Right.
so at like the Kumite, we're gonna still have some classes and some interactive and some
Hmm.
kill younglings kill the master kind of thing. Um, but um, but we're gonna have that kind of stuff too. Some demonstrations from people like Alan and myself, and maybe K Sensei do some of his shicho and stuff. We'll have that kind of stuff. We're gonna have a podcast going on. We're gonna be but the all of these events, you'll have a little education, maybe some form of competition, or you'll have a lot of competition, maybe some form of education with it. So we always try to make sure that people who are not necessarily doing the thing have a chance to learn about how they can do the thing. Does that
I
make
absolutely.
does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and then there are more events during the year that we have
Yeah,
scheduled. Um, some of which don't have dates yet because they aren't
correct.
thinking about.
And we'll do another
They're
episode should we need to
yeah.
about those things.
That's the first half of the year, guys.
Yeah. This is
The
crazy.
well, yeah, we have. I know that our friends at USA Light Fencing and TPLA are going to have sometime in August. They're going to have an international hootenanny. So
Is that
that
in
whole,
Michigan?
I believe so. But
Okay.
yeah,
So
I
that might be
believe our
something where I would give you maybe a little relief from your world tour.
yeah. And You would basically, I believe, and this is just a rumor. I'm not sure if this is if I'm scooping anybody here, but I feel like there's going to be some people from France and some people from Chile there, so it will be an international hootenanny in August.
Chili is
Um,
delicious. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
Chile,
I
I
know,
guess.
I know. It's
Um,
a horrible joke. Horrible joke.
and then I know for a fact because Mr. Ryan McKenna was adamant to not schedule it during his wedding anniversary again. That Saber Praxium Wars 2025 will be
Oh,
October 11th.
or my kid's freaking birthday, man.
Yeah.
But when
So
it was in
October
June, it was
11th
my
this
daughter's
year.
birthday. In October, it's
Yeah.
my son's birthday. I can't win.
Yeah.
I can't win.
Now it's October 11th, so hopefully
That's a good
everybody
date.
that had the those sorts of things, much like yourself,
I'm
will yeah.
99% sure we do have a wedding scheduled that weekend, but I may be able to work it out to where I can get my job covered.
Nice.
The real question is, Alan, and I'm
Mhm.
fully willing to admit this is a me problem. Uh, am I willing to give the reins of the carriage up for a weekend? Right? That's really the question
It
because,
just depends on how much of a control freak you are.
well, I've got a well frickin' oiled machine. I'll tell you that much. Right now, our booking rate is like 9 out of 10. So,
Nice.
yeah, we got a good thing going. And every time I give the reins up, the horse maybe doesn't crash, but stumbles a little, loses a yoke here and there.
Right.
So I just, the question is, how big of a headache am I willing to deal with when I get back? Should there be a
All
headache?
right.
So anyway,
All right.
I'm really excited about Saber Light Praxium. Again, even without my attendance, which I'm hoping to totally be there for. I just love Courtney and everything they do there. But this is another moment for you to just get so many different flavors of lightsaber.
Mhm.
So Alan, from your
Ooh,
experience with,
flavors of lightsaber. Is that the
yeah,
name of
that might be
this
the
episode?
that might be the name of this bonus drop here. You you you've been to the Praxium specifically. I've been involved with Saberlight in a couple different events, from
Mhm.
tournaments to like library education stuff. So like what is it about these guys that everybody just wants to hang out with them? Talk about it.
Well, here's the cool thing. There is a beautiful thing that happens at Saberlight Praxium. Number one, it's an awesome. A Laughing Dragon Kung Fu school is awesome. It's been there. It's a community center basically.
Yes.
Um, it's
Just
been there
like the
for
kung fu schools of legend.
right. It's been there for 20, going on 30 years
Oh
now,
my gosh,
and
crazy.
people have literally grown up there.
Dude,
Uh,
just shout out to how cool it is in business now to even last that long.
mhm.
Wow. Yeah.
There is there is a there's a huge training area. There's actually two huge training areas. And Saberlight Praxium is literally what we have aspired to do in Saber Martial Arts for a long time, which is basically get a whole bunch of organizations together. We do a bunch of seminars, and we do a little tournament afterward.
Yep.
So everybody has a chance to learn. Everybody has a chance to fight. Everybody has a great time learning about different things, different organizations, and all that stuff. They're all in the same place. It's all there, and
So sick.
everybody there is so cool and so welcoming, and also so willing to share and learn that it is basically the culture that Saberlight Knights has
Yeah.
cultivated over the past, decade. So that's what Saber Martial Arts is all about. That's what Saber Light Knights is all about,
Yep.
which is why they picked up the ball and ran with it, and we're trying to do the same thing at Saber Mania on a international scale.
I think Courtney just really quickly, this is how congruent our organizations have become, because even though they're an affiliate of ours, we don't run anything they do. They're autonomous, just like all of our organizations. So Courtney was the first SMAF affiliate to like independently find us, and like reach out and be like, I want to do whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, whenever you're doing it. And he has not wavered since like what, 2017, 2018.
Right.
So you know, his own involvement has fluctuated, but he's been able to foster this program, this environment and community, this what's the word that everybody likes to use, this uh, oh my gosh, anyway, the vibe, if you will.
Sure.
He's been able to foster this thing that has produced people like Ryan, who is not even a martial artist, just somehow, you know, got from a lacrosse jock farmer into lightsaber assassin, and like now that person is one of the most reliable people that Courtney has, which makes him one of the most reliable people that SMAF has. So it's the layering that has been provided by something like Saberlight, by this event, the Praxium. We've been talking about this for years, and you said sharing. Like, we kind of just like tossed this idea to Courtney many times. Like, dude, we want to get you involved in this and that, and like he was just like, you know what? Look around, I think I can do it, and he did, and they did. And Ryan made the tournament happen in a big way. Dude, you said small tournament. Like, let's be clear. That is some of the finest quality fighting we've seen in a long time in lightsaber combat. If you go back and watch those episodes from the podcast, listen to the commentary, and whoa. I mean, we're really talking about top tier saber combat. There's a whole lot of saber combat on the internet. You can find a lot of good saber combat. I'm not just blowing smoke, though. This stuff was quality. And they're playing with good, well-developed, well-practiced rules. And the people presenting, you don't even realize, like, when you're talking to somebody like Alan, who's got a 7th degree black belt, you don't even understand as a lightsaber student, like, just coming into this thing, what kind of knowledge you're getting from. Okay, so I'm done fluffing Alan because he's on the show and I don't want to make him blush. But like, let's talk about like Damon Honeycutt and Chad, right? Like, you don't even understand how many years those guys have been doing martial arts, and for them to just like freely go to Virginia and teach people like us who may or may not have martial arts experience, just anything that we ask them to teach us, basically, it's, oh my God, people don't understand what kind of value they're getting there. They have no idea, just zero.
Right.
You wouldn't unless you've been involved in martial arts. Now, if you have and you go to an event like this, you're going to very much appreciate it. I think about people like Mike Sprague, who's been doing martial arts forever, and he's coming to our events. He's coming to the Saber Light stuff. He's learning lightsabers with people like Damon and Chad. It's cool, man. It's one of the coolest things you can do all year if you like lightsabers, is go to Charlottesville, Virginia, to the Laughing Dragon Kung Fu School and blow their spot up, man, with some fun and with a good attitude, of course.
Right.
Dude, San Diego Sabers, they probably have an event coming up. Let's talk just really quickly some of the people that we know might be having some stuff coming up. Aiken, I don't know if they're going to be doing any competitions or anything, but if you are particularly looking for a youth program and you live in South Carolina, look at Aiken Saber Academy. And what else, Alan? Any other organizations or events that you might have an inkling that you just kind of want to dabble out real quick? Because I'm looking here and I don't see anything left on the except for the one thing with a question mark that I wasn't sure if you were going to bring up.
There are a couple of them because they're again the details are not quite there. So the other one is the annual San Diego Sabres Barbecue,
Love
which
it.
is
So good.
usually on Labor Day, Labor
Amazing
Day
fights
weekend.
again.
Yeah. But it may or may not happen. Maybe they'll do it in May. They might. Sometimes they do something on May the 4th.
They did it what,
Depends on.
August this year, September? They did it Labor Day weekend.
They did it on Labor Day
Yeah.
weekend. So yeah, so it's like there's a bunch of stuff, that's still out there, and we have a line on a lot of those. And hey, you know what? Let's do this. You listening to us right now in another country, even tell us about your events.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, if you have an event that you want to shout out here on the podcast, tell us about it. Engage with us. We would love to get people to your event. You know, according to the metrics, at least 2,000 people listen to us on average. So, that's an extra 2,000 people that you can get ears on your event, even though they might not make it. They'll at least know about it, and they can talk to maybe somebody that they know that is in your area.
Number 50 something
Yeah.
best martial arts podcast out of several hundred.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't even know that. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
man. We used to be like number 60 something, I think. We
Yeah.
recently kind of moved up to it. I think the list is called the top 70 martial arts podcasts. And it's I don't know why 70. I have no clue why. And it's on like a podcast, like what's the like an aggregate almost,
Yeah.
where they sort of like a database.
Sure.
And yeah, we're like number 56 or 58, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, hey guys, thanks.
yeah, very much.
Uh,
Thanks. Oh, Nick Richardson is apparently the host of the show, but I don't know how that happened. Feed Spot, I think, is
hey,
the name of the website.
that's funny.
So
Hey, thanks,
anyway,
Nick.
yeah, thanks.
But
Anyway,
yeah, if
so yeah, if you're listening, please do shout out. Even like, okay, we would have never known about like Evan in Missouri or
mhm,
Vince if like if Alan hadn't been just messing around on YouTube and found Vince, and then if Vince hadn't been like, oh yeah, Evan, right?
mhm,
So
right.
that went from Phoenix to France to Missouri,
Yep.
and then to Ohio when I heard it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
whoa, okay,
Yeah.
that happened in 2 hours on an afternoon. So
Right.
that's what we're about. We're about making that connection. We're about the hyperspace lanes connecting, if you will.
Yes.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I like
here we go. Perfect
it.
moment, Alan.
Yeah.
Name two hyperspace routes in the Star Wars Atlas.
Two hyperspace routes?
Yes.
I mean, did they have names?
Yes. So let me.
So like, I mean, I know that we know about different systems. Are they named after the systems? Because I know for a fact, the Kessel Run is a thing, but I don't think that's a hyperspace lane.
It is not a hyperspace lane.
Yeah.
There are major trade hyperspace routes included, and I'll tell you how many I see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 of them. I thought there were
There are
7, but it looks like
five
there's 5.
hyperspace, just hyperspace lanes.
Routes is the word they use, but lanes is what you see sometimes written.
Okay. All right. And these are in the original trilogy or
So they originally came up in like the expanded universe, but in like the Atlas and things that have come out since the Disney purchase, I have seen
okay.
them. I have seen them used.
Okay, so we're talking about like the different places like in Star Wars that work, or
So
or there's
these
specific
are
like
no,
the
these are
101
trade routes. These would be like I-95 or Route 66,
stuff. So like
the
there's
Pacific
like
Coast
I
Highway.
Right. So there's like a Coruscant lane, I assume?
That's a good guess. No
No?
Coruscant, but there are two that have the word Corellian in them.
Corellian. I mean, Corellia definitely should have one.
They've got two.
I assume, and you said this, there's like there these are trade routes, right?
Correct. And two of them are called trade route.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to say the Corellian trade route
Okay, you're close.
is all right. And
Corellian trade
then
spine is technically what it's called.
it's the trade. Okay. All right. It's a big spine. And you said there's another one that has Corellian in it.
Yes.
I mean, the
You
only
said
thing I could
Kessel
use,
Run earlier.
yeah.
Take the word
So is it
Kessel and
just
replace
called
it
the?
with
Is it
Corellian.
like Cannonball Run, where it's just the Corellian Run?
It is. It
Is
is.
there one of those?
It is exactly like that.
So, so
So
is it
so
like
far you've got the Corellian Run and the Corellian trade spine. Or
okay? So, and hey, free pitch Disney. Is it from one edge of the Star Wars galaxy to the other edge of the Star Wars galaxy, like Cannonball Run? Is that what the Corellian Run is?
let me find out. I see the map right in front of me. I actually have the Galactic Atlas book. It's like a huge coffee table book.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
yeah, it's dope. I'll see if I can dig it out when you come. Uh, so let me see here. Which one are you looking for? The spine or the run?
Well, because if anybody, I'm dating myself here, Cannonball Run is about a cross country race.
Yeah.
It's like a race from LA to New York or something like that. So I assume the Corellian Run is the same thing, but across the Star Wars galaxy.
So the Corellian run goes from, according to this, it goes like if the galaxy was flat on a map, it goes
Uh-huh.
from the northeast ish, where it intersects with the Hydean Way, and they kind of run parallel in the core. The Hydean Way and the
Okay.
Corellian Run, and then the
I've heard the
Corellian
Hydean
Run
way.
goes.
Where have I heard the Hydean way?
Well, the Hydean Way is also runs from the northeast, but goes to the southwest. So
Right, but
that's
I've
like
heard
the main.
those words next to each other before. That's why I was.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like
Huh.
you're maybe thinking Hylian, like from The Legend of Zelda.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
anyway, we're getting
I
off
mean, that's probably
on
true
all
too.
sorts of tangents,
Yeah,
just like these trade routes. So anyway, the
yeah.
Corellian Run goes from the northeast to due south. The
Okay,
the Hydean Way goes from basically northeast to southwest. Now
okay.
we have the Corellian trade spine, which according to this goes from the southwest into the center, into the core. We have the Rima trade route, which goes from like just outside the core in the colonies area to the south ish, southwest. And then the eastern part of the galaxy is getting no love, bro. The Perlemian trade route goes from the core to the, we'll say, the mid Atlantic region. But
Wow.
then you have wild space, which takes up like everything from what would basically be Philadelphia to Cuba.
Wow.
And everything up to the Mississippi River. That like if the galaxy of Star Wars was the United States, that whole like third of the country is wild space. There are
Hmm.
no trade, but there's a whole bunch of planets. So anyway, we're talking about coast to coast events and all of our listeners being all over the place. So I figured we'd connect us through the Star Wars galaxy with that little trivia
Heck yeah.
question. I didn't
Absolutely.
I didn't expect. I actually expected you to like pop those off because lately you've been reading a lot of Star Wars books, but I don't know if you were read a lot of Star Wars books prior to more recent years. So that's definitely more of an expanded
Are
universe thing.
these still in canon?
I believe
Are all
so.
of these still in canon?
I
Okay.
believe so. I
Okay.
didn't actually click that far into Wikipedia, so
Oh,
but, but
okay.
I believe so because I think I've read them in novels that have been written since in the
Okay.
Disney era. Um, So
I try to remember the planets. I don't try to remember the roads that get us to the planets.
dude,
So
I'm just that dweeb that just like, you know what though? I had like a burgeoning fan fiction like authoring career,
Mhm.
and it went absolutely nowhere. But I often think I'm gonna keep doing it. Anyway,
Oh, there you go.
I should one day I should just sit down and like write a freaking
Right.
novel. Anyway,
Well,
um,
hey, it let me ask you a
yeah,
question
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I'm pretty sure out of most of the people that I would know, you would know the first and last name of Luke Skywalker's gunner during the Battle of Hoth.
Oh, Dak Router.
Look how quickly you got that.
Dude, that's like yeah. Dak is my boy, dude. Oh, I love Dak
And he was
Router.
never heard from again.
I know it's a damn shame. Dak is in my Christmas Legos. He shows up in the snow speeder every Christmas with Luke
Yeah,
and
that's funny.
the Atgar laser cannon gunner. Oh, there's a sorry, I just said the bad word. I'll try and cut that one out. Where are we here? 1 hour and 15 minutes. Anyway, Fode said a bad word. Anyway, are we like PG-13 where we get one F word? We'll see. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, I think where was I? Dak Router. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a dweeb word for you. Look up ATGAR, Atgar laser cannon.
Yeah.
That's to the first listener who sends me an email, sabermaoutreach@gmail.com, and tells me what an Atgar laser cannon is. I will shout you out on the podcast, and who knows from there. But Atgar laser cannon. Tell me what an Atgar laser cannon is. I've already given you several hints. You just didn't know it. So, Alan, on that, I freaking love the way this trivia has gone. Very, very organic. I think this year, I'm crossing fingers. I'm knocking on wood. I'm crossing toes and saying, incantations for, fair weather and forward winds, whatever. Following winds, as they say. So, the point being, I'd really like all of these things to be a success in their own right. Selfishly, we've got the Kumite coming up really, really soon, so I'm hoping people listening will take interest in that in Columbus here. But beyond that, I just want everything to be successful. You got the Wushu thing coming up right after that, which is like, oh my gosh, the Wushu Nationals. It's so cool that we're involved with that.
Yeah.
So, guys, gals, and aliens from the Prolemian trade route or the Corellian trade spine or the
Yeah.
Hydean way, whatever. We really appreciate you listening. Please do check out like last week's episode with Brian Takahashi. Please check out any of the Sparchives episodes that we mentioned with Saber Light Knights or San Diego Sabers or just the catalog, man. Go back in the catalog. If you haven't listened to Smafcast before, welcome and go back through the catalog because you're going to find some kernels. You're also going to find some kernels of probably me making a fool of myself, which is great. It's all good. And you're also going to find really some fun like clips and knowledge and stories and personalities, which is our favorite part of this whole thing is the community. So patreon.com/saber martial arts, sabermartialarts.life. If you need equipment, let us know. If you need help starting your Saber program, let us know. If you started a Saber program and you want to just reach out, please do. And if you know what an Akar laser cannon is, hit me up, sabermaoutreach@gmail.com. Kumite Classic, go to mataction.com, MATACTION.com, and search for the Kumite Classic. Kumite is how you spell Kumite. And actually, we may even have like Saber Martial Arts, their own, like a title for it. But if you look at the Kumite, you will be linked to Saber Martial Arts at the Kumite. And check it out. Come visit us in Columbus. That would be the next thing, the next closest thing for anybody listening to attend that we are doing. So, okay, Alan, I'm like I told you you were going to be in the driver's seat, but I just can't help but honk my horn. So,
I don't know, fly casual.
fly catch. Dude, I need Bede, man. Bede's got the cleanest Wookiee bark, and he does my favorite Wookiee bark, which is the one that
Yeah.
Chewie does, like where like he does like several like guttural like articulations in the middle of it. I
Mhm.
think it's from The Empire Strikes Back when he finds out that the that Han and Luke are going to be left stranded overnight.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anyway, so good. I need him on. I gotta find out if he's coming to the Kumite. Anyway, Saber people, next time we see you, bring your own saber.
This party's over.